You don't have to wait to find out if the news is vetted. All you have to do is go over to, see what the current exchange rate is. If it's the same, no, nothing RV'd. The new lower notes EMO will only work with a new exchange rate and not the 1310. The dinars are the highest form of intel and highest form of security that there is on this planet Earth right now. Lower notes, is the most highly guarded object and secret at this moment. The CBI and Sodoni cannot afford one small slip-up, one tiny little leak, even the color. You don't want any information to be leaded out, even the shape of the new lower notes. All this must be kept tightly under wraps until the new exchange rate is finally released. Iraq. Discovery of the largest oil reserve in the center of the country, with 2 billion barrels. The Middle Oil Company, in cooperation with the Chinese company, EBS, announced a major oil discovery in the East Baghdad. President Trump has, allegedly, signed the executive order on cryptocurrency finance, which means we can now get started, when banks open on Monday the 27th of January 2025. Get ready everyone, buckle your seatbelts as we are about to go warp speed. There is another major difference between Germany and Iraq's response to war. Germany faced significant restrictions after World War II. These restrictions were part of the post-war agreements to ensure that Germany could not pose a military threat again. Its military forces were disbanded, and the production of weapons and military equipment was prohibited. Germany was required to pay reparations. These reparations were paid in the form of goods, resources and forced labor. Initially Germany's international trade was heavily restricted. The Marshall Plan provided financial aid to rebuild the economies of Western Europe, including West Germany, and ultimately helped reintegrate Germany into the global economy. By the 1950s, many of the most restrictive economic measures on West Germany had been lifted, allowing for its remarkable economic recovery. The war ended in 1945, and by 1950 Germany was well on its way to financial recovery. Now people all over the world are driving Mercedes-Benz. Germany's currency, the Deutsche Mark, began to significantly increase in value in 1948. However, the real boost to the Deutsche Mark's value and purchasing power came in the following decade, during the 1950s, as West Germany experienced the Wirtschaftswunder or economic miracle. The Deutsche Mark's strength was tied to West Germany's rapid industrial recovery, strong export performance, and prudent monetary policies. By the mid-1950s, the Deutsche Mark was considered one of the most stable and valuable currencies globally. However, there is something else that Germany did that Iraq has not accomplished. Germany disconnected from anything and everything concerning World War II or the previous German leader. The German people showed a remarkable and consistent desire to assimilate with the world. Iraq has not shown this level of commitment as a whole. Some people apparently have no idea how the oil business works. The originating price for oil is roughly $34 per barrel. The rest of the price is involved in brokers' fees, transportation, delivery, and holding. This is how the $34 base cost turns into $75, which is the current end cost of oil per barrel. Now there is a dinar for oil program. China has international sanctions, and part of that was their exclusion from the Iraq dinar auctions. Therefore, they sought to acquire dinar from other sources like private dinar owners. They wanted to be able to buy Iraqi oil, so they started offering private owners an enticing price. They made contracts with private owners through intermediaries. That is the contract rate, not $75 per dinar. The idea of $75 per dinar is not reality-based. The USD put a halt to the contracting of dinar as of October 2011. Unless you have a pre-2011 contract, you will not get a contract rate from the mythical redemption centers. We are waiting for this amendment to be completed for Article 12. Parliament will have to deal with the budget line by line, which will require an exchange rate. 1310 mathematically will not work with all the major projects and contracts they have. We are very close to this budget exposing its guts. Every day we seem to be getting closer and closer to the reality of a new exchange rate with lower notes to match. What are they talking about? What was the value of Iraq's dinar in the previous era? In 1987, the price of one dinar was $3.30. I'm not saying a date or rate. I'm just giving you an example of what they were like in a previous era. They told us the glory days, the previous era. Remember what al-Sudani said. He didn't say a time specific about when the dinar was going to be stronger than the dollar, he just said that it was, and he told his citizens to be careful. It's all coming full circle. Wealth Management/Redemption Center folks are on call this weekend. But they are being told to expect a couple of long weekends in the very near future. They were specifically told to expect to work next weekend and the next few weekends after that, and to enjoy this last weekend on call because they are about to work a lot. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani called on Sunday on American companies to participate in the development renaissance that Iraq is witnessing, stressing that the investment environment in the country is attractive and business-friendly. Al-Sudani's media office stated in a statement received by Shafaq news agency that the latter received the head of the Iraqi American Business Council, Vice President of the American Chamber of Commerce Steve Lutz. The meeting witnessed a review of trade and cooperation relations between Iraq and the United States, and efforts to prepare for the American Companies Representatives Forum, which will be held in Iraq during this year. The implementation of 18 agreements and memoranda of understanding, which were signed during His Excellency's visit to the United States last year, was also followed up. Al-Sudani praised Lotus' efforts in sponsoring and holding forums and meetings, especially with the Iraqi private sector, stressing that the government has made significant progress in various aspects of economic reform and digital commercial and banking transformation. He pointed out that efforts are being made to legislate the intellectual property law and introduce this concept into school curricula in order to keep pace with global commercial development. Al-Sudani explained that economic reforms have raised the level of foreign investments in Iraq, and that American companies are invited to participate in the development renaissance that Iraq is witnessing, and the attractive and business-friendly investment environment. For his part, Lotus praised the efforts of the Iraqi government in the field of reform, stressing the desire of many American companies to enter the Iraqi market, establish promising partnerships with the Iraqi private sector, and contribute to development and expansion of commercial and investment activities. Today, Sunday, the member of the Coordination Framework, Abdul Rahman al-Jazairi, called for holding an emergency session of the House of Representatives to discuss the issue of oil smuggling from the region, which he described as directly affecting the country's economy and posing a serious threat to its vital resources.